Welcome to Louise Tyler's presentation about environmental sustainability, focusing on investigating the mathematical problem of how can I lower my environmental footprint. An environmental footprint is defined as the effect that a person, company, activity has on the environment. For example, the amount of natural resources that they use and the amount of harmful gases that they produce. Effects on an environmental footprint, such as creating power for a household, rely on traditional methods of power production involving the burning of fossil fuels. This is problematic for a number of reasons. Problem 1 is that the amount of fossil fuels we have available for power production is finite and is due to expire soon. Table 2 illustrates the time that fossil fuels will be depleted. As can be seen in this table, oil, coal, and gas is calculated to be depleted in approximately 34, 106, and 36 years. Coal in this table has expected longer availability than oil and gas. This means that at this ratio, coal reserves will be available until at least 2112, and it will be the single fossil fuel in the world after 2042. Problem 2 identifies that byproducts cause pollution. This pollution causes 1. Environmental degradation, including the increase in the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere leading to smog, which can restrict sunlight from reaching the earth, preventing plants in the process of photosynthesis. 2. Effects on human health from the decrease in quality of air and air pollution can lead to health problems including asthma, lung cancer, chest pain, congestion, and throat inflammation. And 3. The emissions of greenhouse gases, particularly CO2, is leading to global warming. Every other day, new industries are being set up, new vehicles come on the road, and trees are cut down to make way for new homes. All of them, in a direct or indirect way, lead to increase in CO2 in the environment. The increase of CO2 leads to melting of polar ice caps, which increase the sea level and pose danger for people living near coastal areas. It is important to understand that coal is not the sole source of energy. Instead, there are many alternative, viable sources of energy. Some of these include making changes to nuclear power, electric cars, solar energy, using energy-efficient light bulbs, using public transport, or alternative methods of transport. Out of all these options, solar panels are the most user-friendly that anyone can invest in. As an individual, installing solar panels in a home and/or business is one way to lower an environmental footprint. In addition, there is also financial benefit, as any power generated by the solar panels will not need to be purchased from an electricity supplier, and any excess energy produced can be fed back to the grid. If all Australian households utilise solar energy, the environmental footprint Australia causes alone can be drastically reduced. Once fossil fuels have depleted, humanity will need to obtain an alternative means to power homes and businesses, and this is part of the reasoning for the decision that is made to utilize solar panels as a means to allow households to decrease their environmental footprint. It is understood that the amount of solar energy created by the sun reaching the surface of the earth is so vast that in 1 year about twice as much energy can be created in comparison to energy obtained from any of Earth's non-renewable resources combined. Because solar is abundant and user-friendly, it is the best choice in comparison to any other option. The choice of solar also amounts to the increasing popularity of solar panels throughout the world, as shown in this graph. As time goes on, this will allow for the technology to develop and improve and to become more affordable. In order to solve the problem of decreasing my carbon footprint, I will need to use multiplication, subtraction, and division to work out how much CO2 emissions I generate, the difference between having solar panels and not, how much money is saved in the long run, and how long it will take for the solar panels to start paying for itself. I will also need to work with percentages to figure out both the environmental and financial benefits of using solar panels to mitigate my impact on the environment. Shown in this slide are two average bills gained from Energy Australia. Example Bill A on the right shows an average household's usage. Example Bill B on the left shows a solar generation statement for a household with solar system installed. These will be used to show the benefits of solar panels and how we can reduce our environmental footprint as well as its financial benefit. In this example Bill A, the total electricity cost for this household is 595.0 kilowatt hours, amounting to $179.69. To gain the average household's total for CO2 emissions generated within a tri-monthly basis, we will need to times the kilowatt hours used by 0.850 grams, which is the understood amount of carbon released by kilowatt hours in Australia today. Example Bill A shows the total consumption of electricity within a tri-monthly period as 595.0 kilowatt hours. Using the formula below, we can find out how much carbon dioxide is produced by timesing 595.0 kilowatt hours by 0.850 equaling 505.75 grams. This may not seem like much, but this shows the carbon emission created for one single household. The 2011 census counted approximately 9.12 million dwellings in Australia, 8.18 million of which were occupied on census night. So there needs to be consideration given to the amount of houses creating carbon emissions in Australia each day, and these are only residential houses. This does not include businesses. In example Bill B, the total electricity cost for this household with solar panels is 264.40 kilowatt hours, amounting to $158.64. To work out how much we can offset the effects of carbon emissions, we use the following formula. In this formula, we minus the kilowatt hours generated from the total kilowatt hours used, and the remainder left over, which is 330.6 grams, is then multiplied by 0.50 grams, and we have a total of 281.01 grams. To see how much carbon we have saved from being released into the atmosphere, we need to minus the total figure with solar panels from the total figure without solar panels. To work out how much carbon we have saved from being released into the atmosphere, we minus the carbon generated from the household system with the solar panels installed from the household without solar panels installed. We then get a value of 224.74 grams of carbon that was saved from being released into the atmosphere. Looking at the next equation, we see a 44.3% reduction in our carbon footprint. We do this by taking the new value, divided by the old value, and times it by 100 to get the percentage. To figure out the cost savings for the household with solar panels, we first look back at the original bill. We view in this the energy used as 595.0 kilowatt hours, as well as the unit price or rate. And we can see that the total charge per unit is $130.01. These costs are shown in formula for a system with no solar panels installed. The next formula under the heading of cost of electricity with solar panels installed, this is worked out by subtracting the kilowatt hours generated from the total kilowatt hours used and multiplying the result by the unit price of 0.2185. From this, we obtain the price of $72.24. Subtracting this amount from the previous amount, we get a saving of $107.43. For the total amount of money saved, this is a saving of 59.8% of the total electricity usage charge. This is worked out by the formula at the bottom of the page, the amount of money saved divided by the cost of electricity used by the solar panels multiplied by 100. In order to solve the problem of how to lower my environmental footprint and the negative effects of carbon emissions on our environment, solar panels are identified as an effective resource use that is widely available technology, with little financial impact and eventually pays for itself due to the savings on electricity. Reflecting on the work that has been done, there seems to be no other viable solution to the problem and so would not need to have been done differently. A student working on this mathematical problem relating to environmental sustainability will cover multiple aspects of the Australian curriculum and could be easily coupled within the learning areas of mathematics, humanities, and social sciences, as well as the general capabilities such as numeracy, critical and creative thinking, and ethical understandings. Students solving this problem would need to apply such skills as subtraction, problem solving, multiplication, and division, as well as have an understanding of percentages, differences, and values. This problem also links to environmental awareness and social responsibilities. Within the background of this problem could therefore be covered as part of science or social studies curriculum. The problem presented could therefore be used as furthering developmental projects, attributing to helping community awareness, hands-on experiments, and excursions that could be further covered within the curriculum as a whole.